So, what are the major ethical concerns associated with AI and how can they be mitigated?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are many, I think we spoke about it briefly, but many ethical concerns. One is bias and fairness that we spoke about. The models or the machine learning AI tools should be neutral in nature. They shouldn't have inherent bias built into them. The privacy or data privacy and data protection should be adequately safeguarded. That is another problem that we spoke about. How do we address mistakes when they happen? So if it makes a wrong prediction or makes some errors, how do we handle that? Who is responsible for that? That is another. Environmental impact is huge, right? I was hearing that it takes huge amounts of power and huge amounts of compute to build these generative AI tools. And in
Hmm.
fact, I was reading somewhere that it takes an entire city of power supply to actually train these models. Um, in future, you would also see some workforce reductions and so on. Yeah, that will be another area for introspection, possibly. So yeah, so these are some of the ethical concerns that we should be looking at.
Hmm. True. It's very important.
Yeah, sure. This is very critical. I don't think ethics are being looked at, and it's not being considered as important as it should be. But yes, sometime in the coming days or in the future, these issues will become critical. The regulators will be on it. Many of these things, especially data privacy, they'll be on it, and then we'll have trouble. And people who could also claim data. I mean, uh,
Yes.
all this data that is used, out there on the internet, it's all free, right? Videos, textual data, so on. It's all free. But who? Why should that be free? And why should that be free? And then why are these AI companies making money out of free data? So yeah, so
Yes.
people are going to come hard on these things very soon.
Yeah, because we are producing a lot in terms of AI, right? So it's I think it's high time now they should start thinking. Let's
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
for the best.
yeah. The regulators will be on this. In fact, very recently also, there was one particular incident where somebody used some particular AI tool to generate some fake video of a very important person right at the top, right? And then this was widely circulated, and then people
Hmm.
thought that this person was doing something in this video, and this is how he is. But and then this very important person came and said, no, this is not my video. No, this is not me there, right? So then the regulators, the government of India, then automatically came back and said, deployment of any of these models should not be done without approval of the government. Some such
Yes.
stand was taken. Yeah. So yeah, you'll see these regulations, some such regulations coming up quickly in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important. Thank you so much, Sri. Next is about consciousness and AI. So do you think
Mhm.
AI will ever achieve consciousness and what would that mean for humanity?
Hmm. Yeah, great question actually. People often confuse a responding chatbot to a like an intelligence that has some consciousness. I mean, that there have
Hmm.
been plenty of examples shared out there in the internet. It's okay, yeah. So this tool, some tool like Llama or something, has kind of generated or developed some consciousness. Right? But my opinion on this is no, we're not yet there. So what I mean in the basic essence of what these tools, AI tools, are doing is to auto-generate some text or make some predictions based on some probabilistic algorithm that's built into it. That's all they're doing. So feed this input, generate some output based on some probability. That's all it's
Hmm.
doing. And they are just pre-built tools, mechanical tools, with using some algorithm that's trying to do something. No, we are far away from tools that would have some kind of consciousness. Uh, it's not likely to happen, at least in the coming years. I read an article or somebody quoting this thing. I don't know who. Very important, prominent uh, uh, computer scientist who won a Turing Award, saying that no, none of these tools have consciousness, or none of these tools can actually understand what they're generating. And yeah, so we're quite far away from that level. maybe at least a decade away from AI tools that have consciousness and so on.
So, Soumitri, I saw this news. I don't know if it's true or fake. You might be aware of this. There was
Hmm.
a robot in South Korea,
Hmm.
and it
Yeah,
done
I
a
saw that.
So, what was that?
No, I don't think there was anything like that. I mean, see, it might have been a pure mechanical failure. I mean, I know this news was spread everywhere. Or
Yeah,
or this so show robot going on the staircase somewhere. It fell and it crashed, and this image was kind of viral, and people were seeing it everywhere, right? No,
yeah,
these robots are mechanical devices. Right? There must have been some this must have been this probably had some mechanical failure somewhere. It slipped somewhere, or something broke within the robot, and it went
yeah,
crashing all. That's all happened. No, no, these devices don't have consciousness yet. We are far
yeah.
away from such. It's just too what do you say, rumor mongering and scare mongering.
Yeah, maybe. Good that we have, bring this up in our podcast. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So next section is regulatory and legal questions, of course. So coming to regulation, so what kind of regulatory frameworks should be in place to ensure responsible development and deployment of AI?
Sure. So this is another aspect to look at actually.
Yeah,
Um, uh, so it's important, right? I mean, you could easily have a lot of regulatory frameworks in place that will stifle innovation. This is a rapidly developing area. So if you have too much of regulation, you're actually stifling or controlling the innovation from actually happening. So one
mm,
of the very important aspects to look at is make sure that you have regulations that do not stifle the innovation or bottleneck the innovation by itself. Right. So that is one very important aspect to look at.
mm,
At the same time, it's the regulation should be in such a way that it is able to address risks such as fake videos being generated or fake news being generated, right? So it should be able
mm,
to address such things as well. And at the same time, you know these AI regulations should be able to ensure that a wide population is able to benefit from the usage of these AI tools. Right? There are lots of benefits from these AI tools. People should be able to use it and see some of these benefits. Maybe like translation of languages, right? So things like that, or pulling up some much needed information using a GPT, Chat GPT type tool, right? So such things. So there should be this benefit between addressing the risks, not stifling innovation, at the same time making sure that people are able to benefit from this. Another aspect, like I think we discussed this thing, it should be able to address risks with ethics, transparency, fairness, privacy, and so on. So all these things should be considered while the regulators are building regulations.
yeah, they're important also. Yes. Coming to intellectual property, how does
Mhm.
AI challenge current intellectual property laws, especially in creative industries?
Yeah, so like I said again, so this all these AI and machine learning tools, they use humongous amounts of data. Right? All the data available on YouTube is fed into the model. That's what I heard recently from the CTO of OpenAI. That's fed
Hmm.
in. Right? So if you have uploaded some personal video, yeah, that has gone into training these models. They're all so anything that's on Google is used to train these models. All these billions or trillions of textual tokens, it's all fed into the model, right? So now, like I said earlier, yes, there is an so anything creative that you have built done in terms of video, images, text, it's all used, right? So how do you make sure that these copyrights are not being infringed?
Yeah.
Nobody is talking about this right now. People are
Yeah.
avoiding this topic. The CTO of OpenAI avoided this topic very vaguely. No comments on that. Right. So how do you make sure that your copyright is protected
Yeah.
adequately? Right. That is very important. Right. So and now, so let's say an AI tool kind of generates something that is very similar to what you built yourself. So you built, let's
Hmm.
say, some drawing, and then somebody asked some image to be generated from these generative AI tools. It generated something. It kind of resembles to what you have done, right? Now, whose copyright is it? Is it the copyright of, let's say, these AI tools, or is it your copyright? How do you claim and protect these copyrights? That's a very important question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you actually track all these copyrights, right? So how do you trace it? So if you did something, how do you trace this thing? So things like that. Yeah, there are challenges like this. Nobody talking about, yes, but like I said, regulations will soon be in place to
Yeah.
kind of address these things.
Yeah, I hope so, so much. It's very important right now because
Mhm.
we are progressing in AI like anything, like exponentially maybe the way it's
Yeah,
heading now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about your personal experiences. So
Mhm.
about your personal journey. So how did you get involved in the field of AI and what has your journey been like?
Yeah, sure. I actually started hearing about AI back in 2016, 17.
Hmm.
And there was some course or some training that was being organized in the company. I was intrigued by, okay, what is this AI all about? So I was kind of intrigued, and I thought, yeah, let me attend this training. Let me figure out what this is. So that's where I kind of heard of what various, the tools, algorithms within AI. It kind of excited me a lot back in those days, 2017, 18, and then post the completion of these training. I'm an engineer, basically. I'm an engineer by background, so anything related to engineering software excites me. So then I thought, let me explore this a little bit. Then I came across blogs and very simple exercises where they're trying to predict something, and then that's how I got interested. I got further interested, and I started taking up bigger projects, and then went on to do some bigger courses on deep learning, machine learning, and so on. And all this culminated in me taking up the MTech course in data science a couple of years back, and I completed it. And because based on my skills, my
Yeah.
organization also agreed to uh, offer me some projects. Yes, and yeah, I was able to complete it. So that's been my journey. Yeah, based on my interest, discovery. Yeah, I got into it.
Yeah. Thank you, Soumitri. Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. So what's an advice for aspiring AI enthusiast from your side? What advice would you give to someone interested in pursuing a career in AI?
Right. For somebody interested in pursuing a career in AI, I think people have to really kind of scrap through the hype, right, and then figure out what AI is all about to start with. I mean, there's a lot of hype, so people have to look at some basic use cases of AI, right? So maybe they may want to look at some basic data sets like discovery or prediction of housing costs, right? Housing prices and so on. They can look at some use cases like that. Then try to understand some algorithms in machine learning and the AI space, like regression, classification, decision trees, and so on. Do some projects in those areas. I mean, that's the best way. Try to build some models. Participate in Kaggle competitions. That's a very important advice I would give to somebody. Kaggle is a very well-known data science website. You'll have plenty of data available. Many people, hundreds and thousands of people participating in competitions, exercises, and so on. People can. I would recommend anyone interested to go check out on Kaggle, pick up some data sets, build some algorithm, build some models, and see how it would fares against some of the publicly available models. And then you can, if you're interested, you can get into deep learning, transformers. Try to augment some of the existing generative AI models and so on. That would be the next step. And use this portfolio of projects that you have built to apply to some organizations. So you use these portfolio projects that you have built to showcase and show it to your prospective employers or your own employer, and see if you could actually get a job opportunity there. And that's how this starts. Um, there are also many courses. I mean, this is for a self starter. There are many courses available. There are masters courses available. There are Coursera courses available on deep
Mm.
learning, machine learning, so on. If you don't want to do a master's, you can pick up a course on Coursera, get a flavor of how these things work, and gain some level of expertise, right? And then use this to showcase to your employers and so on. Yeah, but my experience has been people are more interested in employers are more interested in projects and actual work that you have done as against or compared to uh, courses, certifications, and so on. So if you can actually build a good portfolio of your work on, let's say, Kaggle, and show it to people that you have maybe become a Kaggle grandmaster, for instance, and then that's a great way of showing your skills. I hope this helps.
Soumitri, I want to say something. Maybe you can become a AI career coach or mentor.
Yeah, I've been in the analytics space for a long time. I wouldn't say I can become a coach, but yeah, gain
Mentor,
some.
I know. The way you are, you should. It's good for
Yeah,
others too, actually.
I can
Yeah.
share. Happy to share my experiences with anyone who is interested. Definitely, why not?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Samitri. So, how can our listeners connect with you or learn more about your work in this field?
I'm an active. I'm very active on LinkedIn, sharing my posts, thoughts, various projects, and bits of things that I do. I have my own blog. You can connect with me. You can also share my email if people are interested. Yeah, they can drop me an
Yeah.
email. I can talk to them. Yeah, sure. They can connect me on LinkedIn also. Yeah, many ways to get in touch. Happy to share my experiences and my thoughts.
So, you have a separate blog on Medium or somewhere, or like where it is, or
Yeah,
on
I have
LinkedIn
a
itself?
Google Blogspot. I have a Google Blogspot where I share my small bits of projects and things,
Okay.
my own pieces of research and so on. I try to implement algorithms on my own. Yeah, I mean, they're just in freelancing in my spare time, and I'm also active on Kaggle, doing
Okay.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay. I'll provide the link in description,
sure,
Samitri.
sure, absolutely.
Okay. Our last section is speculative and future-oriented questions. AI in society. So, how do you think
Mhm.
AI will fundamentally change human society in the long run?
Yeah, right. My At least in the near term, short term, I'm thinking AI as a more of a collaborative tool, right?
Hmm.
Something that humans have to collaborate with for productivity gains, for rapidly accessing information, and things like that, right? So there's a need for collaboration between humans and AI tools to bring in some productivity gains, to automate things, and so on. I see a great use case or a need there. People, again, I think this you brought this up earlier, right? One of the great use cases could be in education, for example. So you want to learn quickly about some topic, let's say something like integral calculus. So
Yeah.
something quickly, something more that is rudimentary, something that's easy to learn, possibly. It- Learn, I mean to say, learn integral calculus in a user-friendly way, right? So AI could generate some output to help you learn something like that, some math, complex math like that. So education is one area where you can tailor and improve and kind of use AI to personalize your education experience. That is one way. The other use cases could be, for example, using chatbots
Hmm.
for, let's say, in healthcare or addressing some specific concerns that you have. So, for example, you have some health issue, you're not able to reach to your doctor, but you want to quickly gain some understanding of what it is. Maybe it may be serious, it may not be serious. Okay, sometimes people want to say, okay, do I have diabetes? So you can just use a chatbot to share your own diagnosis or your own symptoms and get some insights from this chatbot, and then you can maybe schedule an appointment with a doctor, and then maybe you could also get some understanding of what some mitigation steps are to address your symptoms. Maybe more physical activity, less physical activity, some dietary restrictions, and so on. Yeah, these are some of the things that you could do. Like I said, elderly care would be again a great use case coming up in the future, and it might happen sooner than later. In advanced societies like Japan, where the population is actually reducing and they don't have human force to look after the elderly, right? Yeah, of
Hmm.
course, there are challenges with privacy, ethical concerns, and so on, but hopefully they'll be addressed soon. And the friction could be reduced in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last, it's similar question. I feel it's like again on a human and AI relationships. Like, what do you think the relationship between humans and AI will look like in the future? Like you said about collaboration. So anything more you feel, or like it's only till
Yeah, see,
collaboration?
yeah, see, all these use cases that you see are driven primarily by the businesses, right? Nobody is building AI for tool free, and so what will happen is people will develop use cases where there is a maximum business impact, right? So where you can actually automate things. So maybe automatically analyzing some radiology image. That is one. Automatically creating some advertisements, right? So the use cases will be where there is a revenue being generated, dollar being generated. And yes, there will be friction. I would say yes. You might see in the long term there might be some job losses, but I would say there will be job losses, yes, in the long run, because of these automation and revenue generating aspects. But it will be mostly collaborative. Nobody wants to lose their jobs. You don't want to lose thousands of jobs. Let's say entire company being automated. It's unlikely to happen at least in the next 10 years. Right? So yes, it will be collaborative. There will be friction. Yes, there will be job losses maybe in the long run, but yeah, we have to be prepared for it. I hope that answers. Pratibha.
I've heard the people are saying like AI will not take the job, but the someone who knows the AI will take your job.
Yeah, of
So
course.
what?
Yes, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. So again, what it means is, for example, in the future, there may be tools that will automatically generate an advertisement, right? Rather than actually physically recording and commercial out there in the field, maybe sometime in the future there will be AI tools. I think there are some tools already. I mean, I don't think they're that great in nature right now, but there are plans for tools. Maybe there will be some tool that will automatically generate a cartoon or a commercial, for example, some product. Right? Now, if you don't know how to use this tool, right, this will become a problem for you. You're outdated. But however, somebody who knows how to use this tool, they can build a commercial on the fly and then upload it somewhere or show it somewhere. That is a great thing, and companies like this thing because it is saving their cost and money and so on, and they are more likely to hire this other person who knows to use this AI tool, right? Yeah, and then for example, you could use an AI tool to generate a social media post. For example, I'm just saying. Somebody who knows how to use an AI tool like ChatGPT to generate a social media post, I do it very often. I'll be very honest. I use a lot of these tools to auto
Me
generate.
too.
I do it. I do it. I
Yeah,
don't
me
write it
too.
all. Huh?
We
Sorry.
take ideas from there, of course.
Yeah, I take the idea. So I think of something and then I use that idea to automatically generate the social media post, right? And then I might fine tune it a little bit here and there, but I don't go and do research by like searching tens of websites, hundreds of websites. I used to do that long time back in my career, but no, last 2 3 years I've stopped doing that. So all I do is I have an idea, I type it on these chat GPT tools, the output comes, I fine tune it and correct some mistakes, and all I do is post it, right? So yeah, somebody who has that knowledge of how to use these tools, you generate these prompts and so on, yeah, they're in a great advantage, Pratibha. So that's how I look at it.
I'm also doing the same.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
get it or no, it's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
because one more last question on this only, Somit. So people, so from where do someone learn this? Like, is there a particular website on AI, or should they join some course, or should they learn from their company, like, or market trends, like how
Yeah,
they should
see,
learn?
no, there are some. I'm not personally use any of these courses, to be honest.
Hmm.
I'm mostly self-trained, but there are some. I heard there are some prompt engineering. For example, prompt engineering is a much needed skill these days, is what I'm hearing. And there are, I heard, some prompt engineering courses worth checking out probably. That is one way. So a lot of these tools require usage of prompts and generating some prompts, generate some output. So prompt engineering is a very good area to look at. And then there are some courses I heard, so worth looking at. And then even Adobe, for example, Adobe Photoshop, right?
Hmm.
Has its own tutorial. I'm sure they have their own tutorial. They have their own courses, even certifications on Adobe, where you can use Adobe Photoshop to auto-generate images based on your requirements, right? So that is another area people could look at. Yeah, so there are plenty of these things from prompt engineering, many certifications probably from these AI-based tools that they can look at to gain knowledge in these areas, I suppose.
Yeah, true. So, you have given years of knowledge in just 1 hour podcast. And I think my viewers should go and, research on all the topics and the words which you say. It's very important for all of us right now, actually, to upgrade ourselves because AI is the future. The way it is, like you said, AI and human is a collaboration. It's a collaborative based, approach right now. So we all should be aware of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, hopefully I was able to provide some insights. Yeah.
I want to tell to my viewers also that I have learned product management from you itself.
Yeah.
So of course, there are a lot to give to me, to others too. Okay. Thank you so much, Soumitri, for coming on a podcast. And I want to call you again. Maybe there are a lot of insights you have for our viewers, I'm sure.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we would probably dig into one specific topic later.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Soumitri, and stay blessed. God bless you and keep shining and giving us knowledge.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
care.
You too, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of a podcast on artificial intelligence and its profound impact on society. As we continue to navigate the ever evolving landscape of AI, let's remain mindful of both its potential benefits and challenges. Join us next time as we explore more cutting edge topics shaping our future. Stay curious, stay informed, stay inspired, stay mindful, stay blessed. God bless you. Thank you.